Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to A Link to the Past Randomizer League. We're in week 4 now. This is pilot spoilers, so we've got a team matchup between It's Always Sunny Independent Pod and A Deadly Case of Explosions, represented by Pool Float and Hyruler and their pilots, Kuchiri and Super Rando Bros. I'm Lumaga, and I'm joined by Radical Sniper 99. How you doing?
I'm doing great tonight. This is such a fun mode to watch. Maybe not the most fun to play because it definitely is hectic and stressful to start, but definitely a great one to see. A real treat in terms of execution and stuff like that.
See, this is my favorite week in all of League. Ever since they introduced it in Season 2, I've always looked forward to this one. But you're right. It's very stressful and hectic. And the balance of stress kind of shifts from the pilot in the beginning to the runner near the end as they kind of shift who needs to focus on their game more.
Exactly. And that's the thing, we're getting to the start here and, we're just seeing some opposite starting points. So I'm very curious about the kind of start both of our runners are going with here. I personally would go with Hyruler's start here to check Uncle. And it looks like Pool Float's going to do with the Houlihan to start.
I really like the Houlihan route because it gives maybe about another 45 seconds for the pilot to get their bearings, tell you if you need to get Link's house and go to Uncle, or just what to do immediately after that. Also, you get a chunk of change in your pocket.
Yeah, I don't hate the added money. I think the way I viewed it is you have so many other ways to get money, generally speaking, that it's not gonna make too big of a difference usually. But everybody's got their own philosophy on it, to be honest.
Well, we did get a couple of checks. First, we did see a small key to Meyer out of Link's house and a heart container out of Sank, but Hyruler did save and quit out of the Hyrule Castle area courtyard. So probably nothing over in the Uncle area tonight.
Yeah, and I was about to say Hyruler is going okay, heading up. Looks like we're gonna get that Houlihan play from Hyruler as well.
So Pool Float did it immediately. Hyruler is now doing it after the fact. Might indicate something either in Zora or in what's another one? Bottle Vendor. Something you need money for earlier.
Yeah,
I
having that
haven't checked the
early.
spoiler log, and I don't intend to, so I'll be just as surprised as everyone else.
Yeah, I'm definitely the kind of person who avoids spoiler log checking in these modes. That is why I run and do not pilot. But it could just be bombs are not easy to come by to start this race.
True. Yeah, you do see where the bombs are. Maybe they're a prize. Maybe they're a tree pull, but you can always buy them for 50 rupees, and sometimes that's easiest.
Yeah, we'll start seeing as these routes starts to come together. It looks like Pull Float's heading right for Cackwell, so we'll see what we can get out of here. We did, of course, get one big key in the Thief's drop down. I did miss which one in particular.
That was the GT Big Key. So right away, yeah, we don't have to search for that one. And there's your bombs. So something in the back. He did go in without. I was wondering what was going to be behind this.
Yeah, sometimes your pilot will just say full clear something. Give me a little bit of extra time to start building that route.
And CAC is a nice place to send your runner because it's very dense. There's a lot they can check. They can certainly, get that extra time and quickly check off, skip Chicken Hut, skip Bottle Vendor, and do these two. And then look towards South Shore, look towards maybe Death Mountain.
Exactly. And there's our early Ice Rod. So yeah, as you can see along the bottom there, we do have the crystals and pendants already marked off. We do not expect to ever see a map check from our runners. So got that already set up as we do get, hey, you were right, money pays off with that glove from the Bottle Vendor. And we also have our medallion needs also marked in there. So we're looking for Bombos and Ether medallions today.
So one of the first things you might do as a pilot, once you have maybe a free second, you might look for something like a weapon. You might look for boots. You might look for something just to keep your runner alive because spoiler is usually a lower percent. I wouldn't say low, but it's definitely lower percent play.
Yeah, I would not expect us to see a second row of hearts. So if I can, if the pilot can find an extra mail upgrade, half magic, a bottle here or there, that powder is really nice, of course. If we can find those extra little pieces, it really does make a difference.
Now, you are at a disadvantage if you're playing against a somebody who does do well on low percentage, because they won't go out of their way for maybe more than 7 hearts, 8 hearts, and maybe not even mail upgrades.
On that point, how much, one of the cool little pieces of this mode, of course, is that you are able to see what your opponent is doing or has done. How much do you invest into that?
Well, I would imagine that it's fairly difficult for the runner to do so, who is allowed to, of course, but the pilot may keep it at the corner of their screen just to keep an eye on things, and then share that with the pilot, just because of the information overload you're going to get.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can say as a runner, I do not personally watch. I don't want to see it happening, but it's definitely something I would talk to my pilot and say, hey, what can you tell me? You know, do we have time to get the mail upgrade? Do we have time to go grab a bottle and fill it up?
We're back in Hyrule Castle, headed immediately back to Dark Cross, not going to the front, and not going to Uncle. So, and no light source. So this is out of logic, but hey, we know that something's back here because we wouldn't be here otherwise.
Yeah, and interestingly, Poolflow did collect that mushroom out of off the Uncle, which we did not see Hyruler picked up. We saw a save and quit from Hyruler before reaching the Uncle, so maybe a premature save and quit there.
With a fetch quest like either powder or a book, it's hard because you got to then look at what's behind that, and that's in a completely different spot in the log sometimes. Well, there's your boots. That's what you're looking for.
That's a really great find. Stressful find as well, in some regards, because not only does that now make, on the plus side, you move faster. On the negative, pilot, you got to read quicker now too.
Yeah, if you've never looked at a spoiler log, it is organized by dungeon and then region, right? Death Mountain, Light World, Dark World. And you really got to process this faster than your runner is going through things in order to set them up.
Yeah, there's going to be those, okay, I know that my runner right now is in Mini Moldorm Cave. This is going to take them, a good 30 seconds or more. So I have that extra opportunity to read right now and try to start plotting.
Right, so just get everything. Give me a second. Let me see what's in Ice Rod Cave or beyond. What I tend to do if I'm a pilot, I'll try to get them into a dungeon, because once they're in a dungeon, I have a lot more free time to start routing them. We did get the hammer out of Mini Moldorm as well. That's a nice one.
Yeah, and Poolfloat, thinking for the setup for the fake or for the water walk, unfortunately, to actually use that stored water walk, you have to jump off a down ledge. So that is why it did not work.
Yeah, may have an opportunity here at Ice Rod Cave. Even if he doesn't get anything out of this, at least he can set it up. And,
although we are possibly going to grind out some extra money there.
Well, there's the setup. No chest.
Yep.
No extra money.
And this could just be an experience thing. That is a valid setup spot inside of Mini Moldorm Cave, but you have to run off of a down ledge like the one you're about to see there. And there you go. There is our water walk. And it wasn't even for the Zora area. Oh, maybe it is still for the Zora area.
that almost led me to think he was going to do Death Mountain.
Yeah. And that would have been surprising because I don't see much available yet for us.
Yeah, there'd have to be something enticing up on the Old Man or on the Spectacle Rock Cave in order for you to go up there this early.
I mean, those are two great finds in a waterfall fairy, a heart container and fire rod. I mean, we need fire rod, but always love finding that extra heart container.
And we haven't saved and quit. We're still up in the area with the potion shop. This could be a mushroom turn in. We do have that.
Yeah, this definitely looks like we're heading towards potion shop, so. And we'll see if the powder comes into play at some point. We do have the hammer now, but this could just be, I like having safeties. And that's about as free as it's going to get. Oh, yeah, we definitely needed that mushroom.
Yeah, that is definitely one to go back for to get that mushroom off Uncle, and that's Dark World access. The only things I think we have right now in the light world or overworld, we mentioned Death Mountain. There's Eastern Saha, but haven't seen those yet. Ooh, we have Back of Escape too.
Yeah, and this is a good play. This is 3 quick checks of, well, not checks anymore, really. Really 3 quick spots to get. So if you're looking for something, definitely worth the investment. Even if it's just a safety, it's not a bad play. And
So,
realistically, all 3 of those are nice.
yeah, Thieves Town Big Key. It is a pendant, so there could be something all the way back. Um, Pendant dungeons always make you think Ped, but we're not there yet. So, see what this leads to. Hyruler also going to go for that turn in for the mushroom.
And I'm not sure where Pool Float's heading this time.
Yeah, trying to get a little bit of a berth away from that green guard to get some speed. This could be headed to Saha Eastern. It's the only thing I can think of over here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not just doing the save and quit, but still, you're already started. Might as well continue your path. But yeah, this does look like we're getting a Saha play. Maybe there's our first sword. You really, if this is a Thieves Town required play, oh, Eastern. If this is a Thieves Town required play early, if you can get your runner a sword, make them feel a little bit more comfortable with that potential blind fight, like, this is great.
Yeah, because at what, 4 hearts, 5 hearts, plus a hammer, that might be a little bit tricky. You're on green mail as well.
I was going to say, I mean, I've been at this game for a little more than a year now, and I don't know if I'd like to do that fight without a sword.
Now, one thing that's coming up in chat, right? We know Hyruler did not go to Dark Cross yet to get the boots. Pool Float has them, so it's going to start diverging a little bit more. Just, a few seconds here and there, but those are going to add up over the course of the seed.
Yeah, the question of, how much time does it actually save you overall? I think the best estimate I've heard is, I want to say it's about a minute every 10 is a good estimate I've heard at times.
That sounds about right. Because you have to have the opportunity to use it like a long, vacant hallway or a room like Pool Float showed.
But yeah, I mean, we're actually, of course, in the middle of the SGL tourney, and a good way to kind of look at it is what's a good time for escape without boots, and we say roughly about 6 minutes. And in this tourney, you're seeing runners get close to a 5:10 or in that area. So, there you go. That's kind of the time saves we're talking here. You're almost already saving, you're saving close to a minute in escape. So, it really does add up.
So Hyrule picked up both the mirror out of chest game and flippers out of the first chest in Thieves Town. Does not have the key from the Back of Escape to go any further after these front 4.
And we did get a sword out of Eastern Palace Vanilla Big Key chest. And this is going to really help with the boots. No more fears of running into an enemy in a boot dash. So not only is this a much more safe feeling for a potential blind fight, but also just the movement feels nice.
So see, this is what I mean. If he's going into Thieves Town, it gives his pilot Kuchiri a little bit more time to just set up. Quick detour into Skull Woods first, I suppose.
Yeah, it must be something in here. Or is this is Pool Float gonna go for Moth?
Ooh. Well, does have a fire rod and finally has a sword to clear away the vines in the back. But we just talked about a difficult boss fight in Thieves Town. I would say that his current loadout is even a bit more difficult for Moth.
Yeah, this would be a very dangerous fight, so I don't think we're gonna get an early play on the Moth, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, we have 6 hearts now. This will be easy.
Oh yeah, that one heart is still on Fighter Sword makes all the difference.
Well, further back we go. There are 2 items here in Skullwoods. Could be some value. Suppose we have to wait and see. Hyruler going, through Eastern Palace. Poolfoot did this earlier.
I was gonna say not only 2 really.
The sword was back there.
No, I was gonna say we have 8 really in this Key Sanity.
Oh, right. This is a keys mode, so only 2 in an open mode.
Oh, and I really like this play. Not only are we getting that big key for Desert, which will be required, Pool Float also taking care of getting a magic refill.
Yeah, you really do have to. Yeah, you got to know kind of where these items are under the pots, or somewhere. What your prize packs are for enemy drops, because they can help you out. Stun prize is also another one where if you find out it's a good one, that could save you. So here's what I'm noticing. We do see Hyruler going through Eastern. Has picked up, a couple of chests here that aren't really of too much value. We do know that the sword is all the way at the vanilla big key chest. The way the spoiler shows things, it will say Eastern map chest, Eastern compass chest, Eastern big key chest, and so forth. You have to know where those games are located in the vanilla Link to the Past in order to effectively do this.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things to kind of get used to is, if your pilot says this is the room or this is the location, hey, you need to go to Eastern Palace big key chest, and you don't have that experience of knowing some of those NMG locations, it really can make this difficult. Even some of the overworld locations have names we're not necessarily used to.
Yeah, for example, the dam. There's 2 of them, 2 items rather, in the dam location, but neither are called dam. It's floodgate chest and sunken treasure.
Yeah.
He's really going for it. He's really going for the moth play.
Yeah, I assume we're going to get that heart in the top. Yeah, we're going to get that heart in the top left, and we really luck out with a heart drop off that mini Moldorm.
And going in with full magic, or, well, now near full magic, is going to be very helpful because he doesn't have a bottle or half magic to extend this any further.
Yeah. Luckily able to get some extra hearts, but this is still a very difficult fight to go for.
The key here is patience.
Oh, really close too. Nicely done at the start. Unfortunately, just Moth getting the best Pool Float there.
Yeah, and without any magic, he would have to farm some in the first few rooms. Not up for doing that again. Kind of a time sink with that first experience.
So I have to ask Lumago, where do you prefer to be in this kind of race? Are you a pilot? Are you a runner? Do you have a preference?
I enjoy both roles. My teammates both are very good runners, so I'm comfortable piloting both of them. And one of my teammates is a very good pilot as well, so I trust him, and he knows my limitations. I don't believe in the 2 seasons we've had so far, we've won a pilot spoiler race, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And you've already mentioned you don't pilot, you're the runner.
I've looked at the log, but I know I don't always know all the chests. And the pilot for our team definitely has a lot of practice on it, so I'll take my job of running quickly.
Well, someone's got to do it,
Yeah.
We missed this, or we didn't call it out, rather. The red cane was in the bridge chest of the back of Skull Woods. So another key important item to pick up.
And the old man has our big key to swamp. I think this is just an incidental pickup, though. I can't imagine that big key really is going to make a difference here.
Yeah, if anything, we might see that the old man's save point is a lot more valuable than that key.
Yeah, it really depends on when we find this flute.
So despite having the big key to Thieves Town, we only got the first couple chests, flippers, and key to pod, and we're out of here.
Yeah, this is definitely a curious move. I wonder, is this just a grab it, I don't know if we need it kind of moment? I've definitely seen a lot of pilots kind of say that is like, grab the extra pod keys, grab the extra big keys if you see them, because I don't know yet if we need it. And I don't think we got Graveyard Ledge over on Hyruler's side, so we'll see what we get out of this one. Oh yeah, a bow.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great find this early. You never know if we're going to have a more convenient bow ever, or the other bow is convenient, I guess is the better way to put it.
So I got curious because of Kuchiri's comment in the chat, and I did look at where Lamp is. Very inconvenient. But nonetheless, he's still able to make some progress. He is going up further up into Death Mountain. He's got all of East Death Mountain open to him. Can't quite complete Tower of Hera. No hook shot to do Herapod and no big key.
Interesting. I don't think we really need the Hyrule Castle small key at this point. Hyruler having to play it a little bit safe here, trying to get into Paradox Cave. Those mold orms really not, between mold orms and dead rocks and everything else, really not trying to help.
Our first bottle pickup, that's a good one. May or may not be needed, but given how we've not run into a whole lot of hearts, we'll take a potion.
Yeah. That is always one of the more scary things. And there's our hook shot out of Paradox Cave. And that's the full kit for Swamp Palace.
I noticed that, and it's also a green pendant. And there's our other bow. So 2 bows available.
Yeah, and honestly, Graveyard Ledge, pretty convenient. I don't know if necessarily going to be great timing now for Hyruler, but for Pool Float, having those boots, once again, running over to Graveyard Ledge, knowing you're going up the mountain right afterwards, perfect timing.
Well, there's the hook shot, so he could do Harapot, and we could see our first crystal very shortly.
Yeah, I'm curious to see which versions of Harapot. Looks like Hyruler is going for it, so probably feels comfortable enough to go for this.
It seems like everybody has their own setup.
Yeah. Definitely the case. I think everybody's got that one they prefer, and the question is, can you do the others if absolutely forced?
Like I would recommend people learn a boots setup and a bootsless setup because you're never guaranteed those.
Exactly. I prefer the boot setup, and I think a lot of people do as well. But if forced to, I will definitely go for the bootsless.
Which boot setup? Is it the speed or is it the bonk into position?
It's the hook speed.
Okay.
Or spin speed version. I did learn bonk setup, I think, but it's just, I think with the Philly pot now kind of becoming it's almost the replacement for a lot of those setups. Like Philly pot has really kind of taken over the bootsless setup. And here we go, Hype Cave.
Hype Cave and a round 2 on Moldorm. Round 3 coming up right after this. Just mail in Hype Cave, which is still okay.
Blue mail is always a good feeling. Just means we get a different Ninja Turtle for the rest of this one.
Yeah, we started with Michelangelo, now we're on Leonardo, and I would guess we'll see Raphael if we run across the red mail. We do see our first crystal, Hyruler, taking down Moldorm in 3 rounds. Knockout.
Oh, the Thieves Town Small Key as our first little check out of Swamp Palace. Maybe that's why we didn't see the back of Thieves yet.
So the Thieves Town Small is only really needed if there's nothing in attic, and you don't have to get. No, okay. So the Thieves Town Small is generally only needed for the big chest.
Yeah.
Because you could use that key that's intended for the attic to go to get the other one. But
good point. Yeah. This could be an unrequired Thieves Town Small.
Yeah, could be a red herring.
Yeah. But this could also just be an experience thing. I know, at least I'm familiar with Deadly Case of Explosions as a team, and knowing that they're kind of a newer group.
Yeah, actually, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, I was about to say that Podsmall out of the big crest here in Swamp.
Yeah, both 2 of their members, Josh Bittner and the pilot today, Super Rando Bros, were both in the mentor tournament. So yeah, they are a little bit newer. I believe Hyruler is also relatively new.
Yeah. I believe you're correct.
So we do have to do left side. This better be good, because going left sides in an open seed, it's not fun to go to left side. It always feels like it's a waste until it's not.
Yeah, and Paper Cut Dungeon living up to its name again. Just a lot of little nicks across the board. So Pooflo just has to be a little careful here.
I like that nickname, Paper Cut Dungeon.
Everything does like a heart of damage. It won't kill you quickly, but it's, you know, just over time, death by a million paper cuts kind of deal. And there's another pot small. Interesting.
Yeah, we're loading up on those. I think we have 3 now.
I'm wondering if we're going to get something really good out of this one, though.
We need 3 of those. We need 3 keys to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's definitely something to help us, but I guess that 4th Turtle Rock key is not convenient at all. Or, worst case, we actually need all 4. Ooh.
Yeah, if something is in the lava chest and you can't steal that key from the pokey and you need all 4, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Okay, where could you be going? Oh, you're just getting a refill. Okay.
I do like the exchange of potions here. I have a feeling Poolfloat's heading back for Skull at this point.
Yeah, a little bit better equipped with the blue armor and a few more hearts and a blue potion. I'd say so.
That or we get Thieves Town. I'm not sure which might be the case.
Well, he did the front and then he bailed.
Yeah. And Rambler bringing up Moth not in Logic without all the keys. If we played this mode in Logic, oh my gosh, think of how long this would take sometimes.
Yeah, you take any shortcut you can. And Skull Woods is... I don't know how many times I've ever actually seen Skull Woods intentionally played in Logic, you know? Oh, gotta get that 3rd key, otherwise it's not in Logic.
Yeah, the next time it happens would probably be the first time. Or at least in keys. Oh, the sword isn't in Logic, fair enough.
Yep, that was behind a dark room, that's right.
But we are getting Thieves Town on Poolfloat's side as Hyruler is getting the King's Tomb. Okay, just a piece of heart.
Now, as a pilot, you do have to kind of route some of those in. You got to look at how swift they are to get. Like, if they're going to be right on your way, yeah, route those in. If it was a full heart container, I could certainly see dipping King's Tomb for that.
Yeah.
Just the value has to be there.
This is definitely one of those hard parts about this mode is spoiler in general is that is a really hard week because it's the one real week of the season where you have to that comfort with low percent is really important.
All right, there's a big key there to a dungeon we've been to.
And that is a bombing of the attic. And that didn't look like muscle memory. That looked intentional. Now, of course, this is week 4 of the league, and both of our teams tonight are in the Turtle Rock division. Currently, at this point in the season, Always Sunny and Pendant Pod has 3 points, while Deadly Case of Explosions is up to 6. So, could definitely see a little bit of a movement in the division standings. And here we go. We're about to get the big chest.
Yeah, we intentionally got that Thieves Town small to get a vanilla glove, or vanilla mitts, rather.
And apparently we didn't need the maiden.
Yeah, dipping out after all that work to explode the attic. Hyruler now actually going back all the way to Moth. Maybe feels a little bit empowered. Has enough hearts. Doesn't have the blue mail that Pool Float has from Hype Cave yet, though.
Yeah, and I would look at the current outlay of equipment and go, Pool Float looks to be a little ahead in terms of just equipment and the time with stuff. But Hyruler, slowly and quietly has built up. This is potentially a second crystal.
Yeah, and he takes him down. He got a hammer swing in there, too.
Yeah, really adventurous with that hammer hit.
All right, 2 crystals on the board for Deadly Case of Explosions. We're going to have to see how this shakes out because, as much as we were high on the boots earlier, boots don't count for crystals.
Definitely not. And I mean, realistically, at this point, the Hera play isn't a big deal. That can easily be your last crystal before GT, and if Pool Float goes in there with a tempered sword, that's a much more forgiving fight. And since we do need to get the flute, eventually we could get that flute activation before doing or redoing Skull Woods. So there's some convenient times to do these, but definitely the double dips are gonna hurt a little bit.
In a keys mode, though, you kind of expect to do some double dips. Maybe Hera could have been avoided, but you're going to do some double dips at some point.
Oh, of course. I just, in Pilot Spoiler, it just feels they're less frequent. If you were running this solo, you'd go, oh yeah, double dipped Eastern Palace, I kind of get why it happens. But when you're running this with that log on your teammate side, you almost go, let's avoid as many double dips as possible.
So let's call this out also. We did get a big key to Palace of Darkness, which is great because we have 3 keys. But we're very deep into Ice Palace and showing no signs of stopping.
Yeah. I mean, with that Bomb Boost medallion, I think this is, there's definitely some comfort. This might be what that potion was for. But yeah, here we go.
Yep, and he's going to have just enough for a Bombos medallion, maybe 2 Fire Rod shots, but he's still on Fighter Sword, and it's not going to be an easy fight.
Yeah, I think we might have... I think we'll have at least 3 Fire Rod shots. But yeah, that'll be close. It might only be 2.
Not only does the Fighter Sword not have the power of others, it doesn't have the range, so you have to be a little bit closer to hit Cold Stare.
Yeah, and you can't even just do a slash with Fighter. So... But that potion paying off nicely, and that is a dungeon clear for Pool Float.
Yeah, 5-6, no less. Kuchiri looks like he's going to make that. I'm sorry, Hyruler looks like he's going to make that Swamp Palace play as well now. Go and get those keys on the left side.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's required, or we don't know that it's required, but it definitely is feeling that way.
Yeah, you could theoretically do, gosh, even one small key if the item layout was just pretty empty for Palace of Darkness. Because there was I think there was a pod key and a Turtle Rock key over there. But we have 3. Not heading to Palace of Darkness yet. We got to clean out Eastern.
I am kind of surprised by this, just because we could do them together.
The only thing that would cause me to do this first is there's something either on Armos or in the big chest which makes it easier to do pod, like a sword or something.
Even then, I would think to set up, go through the hedge maze, get the pod, and then mirror to Eastern.
That's a very good point. Yeah, because now he's going to have to walk all the way back down, go through the portal, and come back up.
But I think this first sword being Eastern Palace might have been worth it at this point. You know, even if this is just for the big chest or for Armos, either way, that sword really made Cold Stare a reasonable fight, being able to use bombos. Oh, there's our lamp. Okay.
Remember I said, yeah, it's an inconvenient location for sure.
Yeah.
So from what we've seen from the runners, I guess it makes sense to get the lamp. Some dark rooms, not so bad, right? They both did Old Man going up the mountain, but you're also looking at Misery Mire. You're looking at some things in Pod, especially that turtle room in the basement. The lamp is pretty useful.
Yeah, no matter how good you really get at dark rooms, even the most experienced runners will tell you, if I can have a lamp, it still makes me faster. You know, how many times have you done Dark Mire and you go, yeah, I can do that if pressed to do it. But then, like, if somebody says, do you want your lamp for Dark Mire? You would say yes, because that goes from a room that I do slowly and it takes me, an extra minute versus I'll just run right through and I can do Spooky.
So go to right side first. That automatically saves us 1 key because we don't have to go through the middle door.
Yeah, we are getting a right side play though, and I'm curious if there's... this is to save a key.
Well, there's a lot of pod small keys, right? What is there, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do it with 3, especially if you know the hammering up. Or there's nothing over in Dark Maze.
Well, that's what's got me curious, are we saving... It looks like we're saving a key. Specifically here. I am really curious what's over on the other side here. Or, like, what the benefit is to not having a 4th key or just going with 3.
Yeah, because we'll need 1 to take down Helmasaur. We need 1 to get into the back of Pod. And then you got to make a choice. Are you going to use that last one on the Harmless Hellway, or are you going to use it on Dark Maze? Or maybe he goes all the way through this arena again, and we end up getting Vanilla Big Key Chest in the middle.
Well, there's another heart container.
And a Master Sword out of that compass chest.
Yeah. And there's one of those key uses. Oh no.
Castle Tower.
Castle Tower small keys. We're not supposed to have those.
Unless we need that second chest in Castle Tower. Which is also what that lamp could have been used for. Dark Aga is not a very fun set of dark rooms.
There we go. There's that hammery ump. Definitely essential tech for this mode. Pretty much any keys mode, to be honest.
Yeah, if you can get through pod with one fewer key spent, that's what you got to do. And there's a cave. Oh, we haven't seen Bumper Ledge.
We're starting to get some odd extra little pieces, and they have me worried about some of the requirements of this seed.
You know, that Castle Tower pickup may not just be for the second Castle Tower chest. It might be for Lumberjack.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things we're not sure of yet. Yeah, and as Rambler's pointing out in chat, it could be a question of safety for Ganon. Definitely a chance that that is the case. I'll be curious to see if we do get Bumper Ledge soon. I mean, we're getting close to item go mode. We really are missing keys is the big factor here.
Yeah, we're missing Ether, a flute, and, like you said, a whole bunch of keys. Big and small, actually.
Yeah, Myron TR Bigs are our big outliers right now.
You know, I didn't notice this, but Hyruler got his boots some time ago.
Yeah, I think that was after getting that sword.
Okay. Well, has sword, has mitts. He's ready to take on all the strong dungeons. I don't know if we'll see as early of an Ice Palace dip as we did on Pool Float's end, but there's not a whole lot more that we could really do. He could venture into pod at this point. Doesn't have the big key, though.
We might be getting that Eastern play, though, for our lamp. Yeah, it looks like we're getting Eastern pod on Hyruler's side.
And this is the play you were talking about. Set up that portal in front of both dungeons.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, Hyruler's not in possession of the pod big. And there goes Helmasaur King for Pool Float. Really nice, just one silver arrow right in that jewel.
And that pod big, of course, was in the spike room of Ice Palace, which Hyruler's not headed towards.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Palace is a very intimidating dungeon at low percent, so I understand the desire to avoid it. But we're missing some really key items here.
I could see Hyruler getting his sword out of the compass chest here, and then heading to Ice. That might be what's stopping him.
Yeah. And here comes that Aga Tower play.
Yeah, okay, with only one Castle Tower key, this is not... No, he does have 2. Oh, boy.
That's interesting because I thought I've also been kind of paying attention to the runners channels, and on Pool Float's own tracker, he only has 1 marked. So I'm not sure. We'll see. No, he does only have 1 at this point, so this might just be for the Dark Maze.
Yeah, there's no way he could have... I looked at the log. There's no way he could have got the second Castle Tower key.
That's a very foreboding statement. Oh, but that's why we need it. That's a flute.
Well, I suppose Meyer's open. No, Meyer big. We need Meyer big. I suppose it's open, just not beatable.
And I think if you're gonna if you're gonna activate your flute now, I think this is the last time reasonably you go into Kakariko area. So I gotta believe we're gonna see a moth play soon. Now, we also did get that right side play from Hyruler, so... But is Hyruler going for... Okay, not doing the hammer yump yet. That's good. And this might be for Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, gotta be. He's going to North Dark World. We've already seen Graveyard Ledge. King's Tomb is nothing. This is Bumper. And a big key, and I think we're only actually missing the Misery Meyer key.
TR.
Oh, you're right. So it's got to be one of those 2. Well, there's the Meyer big key that was preventing us from finishing that. We are... Maybe after the moth, we're on our way there.
Yeah, and I think for Pool Float at this point, you get into Skull Woods, you take a little intentional death, and then go for that moth kill.
Yeah, because otherwise you're starting back at one of the 3 starting locations. Man, even going into that first entrance, taking death to the jelly might have been a good idea. Or right here, just to make sure you don't go too far in towards Skull Woods and then get hit by one of the Ropas at the end.
Luckily on Blue Mail, they're only doing 1 damage, so... Or 1 heart. But if we don't see a death here, I will be just... oh. Pool Float? I mean, I admire the ballsiness of this one.
Yeah. Oh, didn't even bother getting that heart in the bottom right pot. He's feeling pretty confident about this.
Yeah, I mean, 6 back up to 6 hearts is pretty nice.
Oh, and the powder for the fairy.
Nice.
That's it.
Oh, no. And getting grabbed by the Wall Master there. Skullwoods is just not cooperating for Pool Float today. This has been a frustrating one, I can imagine.
Yeah, early death on Moth, maybe a little bit under armored for that. That one's just you know, just kind of hits you. It's a little frustrating to get pulled.
But I mean, the Gyptos are in the special prize pack, so not only are we getting fairies, we got a full magic before heading to Moth.
And I wouldn't put it past Pool Float to have recognized that earlier on and say, let me kill a few more Gyptos and see if I can get this.
And at this point, with Pool Float's current loadout, really, you talked about caution for the first fight. At this point, you're almost more encouraged to be aggressive against the Moth.
Yeah, I mean, spikes still do one hit no matter what armor you're on, but you got plenty of hearts to spare.
Yeah, if you can control Moth at this point where you don't allow Moth to fire off the attack, its ranged attack, it really helps you. But there is a third crystal now for Pool Float. Have to believe we're going to see Desert Mire next before final mountain climb.
Yep, we've not been there at all, but we have everything we need to do that. And then we got to find the Turtle Rock Big Key also. But we're quickly running out of places where it could realistically be.
And I might be mistaken, as Pool Float is back into Dark Worlds in the Village of Outcasts area.
Could be a smith play. Hammer pegs.
This could be a sword, honestly. If there's a convenient sword, you might be going for it thinking, I've got the time right now. Or a mirror check?
Yeah, Stumpy K45 is over here. It's got to be the K45. Sometimes called South of Grove, but in the spoiler log, it's actually called Cave 45. So you better know where that is, otherwise you're going to miss the Ether Medallion.
Yeah, that's definitely a little important in this one. That is our medallion required for Turtle Rock. So there's one entry piece for Turtle Rock. We are still just missing our TR Big Key. And now we're getting Mire Shed. So sword or key. There's a small key to Turtle Rock. Oh, we might need all 4 small keys, because that is our 4th small key for Turtle Rock on Pool Float side.
Imagine, in a key sanity mode, vanilla Turtle Rock Big Key in Lava Chest.
That's the scary thing. When you read some of these spoiler logs or you talk to some of the pilots and, they pay attention to this logic, and even as a runner, you get into one of these races like, why are you telling me to do something that just sounds insane? And then you hear what the logic really was going to require, and you go, thank God I'm not playing this seed normally.
You really have to put a lot of faith in your pilot early on, and
yes.
just listen. Don't think about what their reasoning is, just do it, and they'll likely explain why they did it later, or it will become apparent why you had to do that.
Yeah, there's definitely seeds where, like, you see, oh, there's a fire rod, or like there's a lamp or mirror in Turtle Rock to go get my Mire Big Key out of Swamp to get my fire rod out of Mire Big Chest. And you're just like, why, Seed? Why? Who hurt you like this? But I mean, honestly, we did need 3 pod smalls at minimum, so that those 2 pod smalls we got out of Swamp So So, that Turtle Rock key is still going to help us.
We had a really nice fight on Hyruler's end against Cold Stare for his third crystal.
Yeah, really nice Cold Stare fights from both of our runners getting through that dungeon. And I mean, we're building up a good little buffer of health and security here. 10 hearts on Pool Float side, 11 hearts now for Hyruler.
Yeah, there's that second row. But when you're going out of your way for a few small heart pieces, those are gonna add up, and you won't even realize, and all of a sudden, you have 11 hearts.
And this is definitely an appreciated mire, as we have silvers. Vidi does not stand a chance on this one.
When he took the first arrow to the eye, I thought he might have, but that second arrow did him in.
And this is why the silvers are locked behind both 5/6 crystals. In vanilla, of course.
Of course. Well, yeah, no book to do desert. We gotta flute our way in. No, we can mirror up here. That's right.
And hey, is that our... It is! That's our last big key to Turtle Rock.
That's
I'm really
go
curious.
mode, isn't it?
Yeah, that is go mode for Team It's Always Sunny and Pendant Pod. So Pool Float just over an hour and 3 minutes is into go mode.
Makes me very curious about that fourth small key to Turtle Rock. There's got to be something like a sword in that middle chest.
Well, I think the other thing that could be interesting about that is one of the interesting strategies we actually looked at as a team was the possibility of getting that fourth key and skipping the Pokesteel. I wonder if that might be a situation here. Oh wow, if you needed that Ice Palace big key for something. Ice Palace big key in Palace of Darkness, big chest.
Just missing that fire red shot on that third Landmalus. So I mentioned very early on at the start of this, the stress level kind of shifts from the pilot at the beginning to the runner at the end. Somewhere about maybe 8 to 10 minutes ago, the pressure was on Pool Float and off of Kuchiri, the pilot.
Yeah, at this point, Kuchiri's role can be a bit more of a reassuring role. Might say, hey, do you want to know where your opponent is? Is that some information do you want to know? Because it can be reassuring to a runner to hear, hey, you have a bit of an edge right now. You can also, as the pilot, go, do you want to get another sword? Do you want to find another bottle? Half magic, you can start looking for little plays to make along the way that might help your runner. For example, if in GT, let's say Tempered Swords in Dark Magician Room, you could easily say, hey, go to Dark Magician Room, it's worth your time.
Yeah, all these conversations you can't have like during the first 45 minutes of the race, you can have now, and there's no problem. Your runner might want you to be quiet while he concentrates, but you're right. It's a reassuring role. Like, here's what's happening that you don't know about.
Yeah, at this point, like Always Sunny and Pendant Pod, up to 5 crystals to the 3 on Deadly Case of Explosion side. So there can be that, hey, don't worry too much. You've got a bit of an edge right now. But some runners don't even want to know that information. And in this case, for Pool Float, there's nothing, I guess, in Super Bunny.
But something worth his while in Hookshot Cave.
That is definitely worth my while. That's not bad either.
Yeah, now you're all set to go. There's no reason to check anything in GT. Just go through TR, get what you need, and you're done.
Yeah, and in this case, this kind of goes back to what we were saying. This could have just been, I was getting those keys in Swamp Palace for pod, because those were the best pod keys available. And, now I can skip. I can skip that Poke Key out of Turtle Rock. So this could be a little bit of a time save. Yeah, here we go. Pool Float into Turtle Rock for crystal number 6. Meanwhile, Hyruler heading up to Bumper Ledge for that Meyer Big Key. Now, of course, Hyruler does have that Hera Crystal already. We do need this key, of course, off of this Pokey, but we can skip the other one. And yep, we're going right through Chomps, so nothing here. And there is that Mire Big Key for Hyruler. So gonna head towards the Desert Mire area. And yep, here we go. Pool Float skipping the Pokey Key on towards the Lava Island. Or maybe not.
Maybe not.
I am not sure.
Just the wrong entrance.
This could be, if this is half magic, I understand the play. I'm curious what else it could be at this point. Is this a red mail? Is this a butter sword?
Oh, I didn't notice it earlier. That's a trench coat turtle. That's awesome.
And it's butter sword. Okay.
Yeah, it'll make a marginal difference up the tower. You get an automatic 1-in-1 cycle for Ganon. And at this point, if he and Kuchiri, his pilot, are communicating well enough, he knows where Hyruler is and says, yeah, I have a few minutes to take care of that sword. I'll grab it. And the last of the big keys for Hyruler, the Turtle Rock Big Key on the ledge, is now his.
Yeah, and that is also go mode for Hyruler.
So probably about a 7-minute difference, I think. Pool Floats was at 103 something.
Yeah. Nicely done for phase 1 on Trinex there. As we're getting the Landmo fight from Hyruler, and nice silver kill. And nice phase 2 for Pool Float on Trinex.
Very
great
quick.
boss kills on both screens.
Well, we just got to go up the tower and kill the pig. No, kill the wizard, then the pig.
Kill a worm first.
Oh, you're right. Hyruler did Tower of Hera. Pool Float has not. Okay.
But Pool Float does have that mirror out, so it does recognize, hey, I need to take down Moldorm and work through Tower of Hera. And we'll see what kind of Hera pot we get. And there we go. I was a little worried that we might have had the vertical pixel messed up with the Moldorm, the mini Moldorm kill, but nope, we're all good.
Yeah, a couple things can throw off that Hera pot, and the only way to reset it is mirror out and try again.
Yeah, but it looks like we didn't. Oh, but Moldorm says, yeah, you're not allowed up here yet.
It's been very uncooperative, right? Just kind of a recluse today. You're knocking off Hyruler a few times. Now Pool Float.
Yeah, and you thought, for Pool Float, coming up with the Butter Sword was going to be a great, much nicer fight, and still not the case.
Yeah, it's one of those things that any runner, whatever your skill level, you're going to fall to Moldorm occasionally.
Meanwhile, Kuchiri is kind of sharing the spoiler log with us in chat and all the different great items we're not getting to see tonight. For example, did you want to know that we had to get that Castle Tower small key because the other one is absolutely buried at Sahasrahla?
Yep, I did say there's no way they could have got it because they would have had to finish Swamp Palace, and not for a key. Nope.
Yep, no. But here we go, Pool Float into Ganon's Tower. And on the plus side, Pool Float does already have a small key, so didn't have to worry about getting locked out. On the other side, Hyruler heading back up Death Mountain for our TR and eventually DD. Full float working through the gauntlet. There's gauntlet 3 into gauntlet 4.
Yeah, this is where the gold sword comes into play, really helpful. Just kind of slice and dice your way through.
Yeah, the biggest thing is always having tempered through here. Master Sword with those red Zizaks is just the worst. There we go. There goes Landmo 2 as Hyruler gets that tempered sword out of Hookshot Cave. And Hyruler entering Turtle Rock with only 3 small keys, so we'll not be seeing that Butter Sword on Hyruler's side. We'll still have to steal a Poke Key.
Kind of want to bring up the conversation that's happening in chat on who the best or your favorite Ninja Turtle was, but I'm sure any answer I give would be the wrong one.
So, what I have heard in regards to the answer for that one, though, it's very much based on personality type. It's one of those weird things that is actually not a universal favorite.
Yeah, everyone's got a favorite, and well, when your favorite doesn't line up with someone else's, it's contentious.
Yes,
I could totally see the personality type. I'm kind of a geek and science guy, and Donatello was my favorite.
I was gonna say it was the same for me as well.
All right, nicely passed Moldorm 2, much less trouble than Moldorm 1, and on our way to the top floor and getting rid of the wizard.
Yeah, that second arena, honestly, is just so much better for the Moldorm fights. That first one is just a lot more stressful. Nice double there on that third phase. This should be one more hit. Yep, there we go. And pull flow dropping in on Ganon.
I don't think I've seen that text box before. Yeah, here's where the gold sword is also coming into play. He's got a 1-1 already on phase 2, and that's more than enough hits to get into phase 3.
Yep. And just waiting here with that blue potion, but really nice fire bat dodging.
Yeah, no need to set up for that torch glitch. Gets it anyway. Wow, setting up for a nice triple. Just gets the double. Ooh, gotta be careful.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go for that third arrow. Usually you can hit Ganon with 3 arrows if you really time that nicely. but nicely done from Pool Float, just having to cross that bridge, and that'll seal this race for Team It's Always Sunny and Pendant Pod. And there we go, get the GGs in chat, as Pool Float finishes in first place with a race time.gg time of 1:21:59.
We'll definitely try and get Pool Float and Kuchiri in the channel soon. If you liked what you saw here, these two teams are going to go at it tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. Believe it's going to be New York Rambler versus Super Rando Bros, piloted by Josh Bittner, and I would have to double check the other one.
I believe
Kuchiri will be the other pilot again. Very good. And we are joined by our winners tonight, Pool Float and Kuchiri. GG's.
Oh, that was a seed. That was a seed. What? Vanilla Mints? Lamp in the Eastern Bit? Why?
Yeah, he's got that about as best as I can sum it up, because those were his reactions looking at the spoiler log.
Yeah, no, like, Pool was just on his own for like 10 minutes as I just cussed out the spoiler log for about 5 minutes there. Like, like there's a big chunk where this Pool was like, I'm just going intuition that this is the location. Yeah, that sounds right.
And just as a note, Hyruler has decided to forfeit on the end of this race, so I completely understand having a GT climb left, but you know, not too far behind on that. And we will see, of course, if we can get Hyruler and Super Rando Bros in here as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised how the end of that seed went so smoothly for us after all the double dippings and the agas and the.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I've done the entirety of the game in the dark, but there's certain rooms like Meyer and Aga Tower that I'm just not fully comfortable with. So with the lamp being only about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, I figured it was worth it.
Yeah, definitely an inconvenient location to get that lamp, but we were talking about it, and some dark rooms are not so bad, but others, like you mentioned, the lamp is such a time saver.
Yeah, the way I saw it was it's minute and a half, 2 minutes, but if I mess up in the dark rooms and die, I lose the time that I would have potentially saved.
Yeah, no, my plan as this pilot, I saw we kind of started having a lead because I got pulled to boots first. So we started building up this lead. And so, like, my plan at that point was, okay, let's get him gold sword, let's get him everything he needs to make sure if a small mistake happens, we don't lose 3 minutes and give the race over to them. I wanted to make sure that Pool was basically the strongest he can be.
And you did a really, an excellent job with parsing the spoiler log and figuring this out.
Yeah, no, the best way I could explain looking at the spoiler log was, did you guys ever grow up with a whole bunch of like Nintendo controller and cords and how they all got tangled up? And how you spent the first 2 or 3 minutes getting the first untangle, but once you finally get the one controller that was tangling everything out, it just moved out. Basically, after I got the parts, I'm like, oh god, we're just going to hit this point where it's just going to be a straight line from Aga straight to the end. We're not going to be picking up anything extra. We're just going to go boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. GG, Rando.
Hey, thanks, man.
GG.
Yeah, Rando, we were just kind of talking how you kind of had to untangle this one, and it had some surprises for you. What were your thoughts on this one?
Oh man, yeah, having a double dip pod, that was super rough. I know we didn't have to do that. That was a mistake on my part. So, yeah, man, this was just pretty twisty and turny. We also haven't had a lot of time to practice. Neither of us have a lot of experience with keys, so we kind of just jumped in. I feel like he played really well. The execution was great.
Oh no, he definitely. I was watching. I was scared because he was just destroying bosses with ease. I'm like, oh no. Okay, come on, Paul. Did you really? Come on, let's go. I was getting really worried after a while, but.
Actually, on that note, yeah, Kujiri is right. Hyruler and you, Super Rando, did have a 2 crystal lead pretty early on, and he took down Moth really well. So
yeah, I was excited to see that. Yeah, it was great, man. But yeah, there were some rounding decisions that I made big mistakes on. So yeah, going into pod without that big key really hurt. And I guess I mixed up something somewhere. I don't know, man. That got pretty confusing there for a bit. But
I wouldn't take that to necessarily have been a mistake in some regards. Getting Hyruler that extra sword. There's definitely a question of comfort level with a low % golds there, and that's really hard to kind of know exactly what the right call is. And that's one of those things you build up as a team in the relationship there, as we are now also joined by Hyruler. GG.
Nope.
Or we were.
No, yeah. Hey, welcome back, Hyruler.
I think.
There we go. We hear you.
We got you.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
So, yeah, Hyruler, any general thoughts on this one?
Well, we never got a chance to practice, unfortunately, so routing wasn't the best. But yeah, I mean, we tried.
We definitely tried, man.
I mean, this was a slop of a seed, so I mean, it was. I mean, it felt like what's the current meme about the new Mario Brothers movie? Where they're putting from Always Sunny with the. But it basically felt like that, like lines drawn in every direction. Yeah, it felt like lines drawn in 50 different directions just to get started on the seed. And then out of nowhere, Kucheri was like, okay, you're in go mode. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Pepe Silva.
What'd you say?
Silva meme. That's what Paul was just trying to describe is the Pepe Silva meme.
Yeah, okay.
Where he is like dyslexic and he misreads Philadelphia Pepe Silva and thinks that there's some dark shadowy figure and it's a big conspiracy, and then he like goes crazy over it. Yeah, never mind.
Let's go crazy. So.
Of course. You guys are facing off again tomorrow with different runners, and Kuchiri, I think you're the only one who's retaining their role.
Yep.
What are you guys looking for tomorrow?
Hopefully not this. I want a seed where I can just tell Rambler, okay, this is just going to be a straight line from beginning to end. That's all I want.
That's quite the bit of optimism.
No, well, the practice pool and I did. Let me tell you this. We had to go to Laser Bridge for the Swamp Big to get Ice Rod in Swamp. But in order to get to that, we had to get the big key of TR from Argus.
Oh, God. There's some fun ones.
Yeah, I wish I had streamed that one so I'd have a VOD of it, but it was an offline practice.
No, but yeah, no. Good luck tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good luck tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
Well, GG's again to both of our runners. I also want to thank the rest of the crew. We've got Yonker's wife who put on this restream for us. Thank you very much. Cool Papa Bell 2282 was our tracker, keeping us on task and keeping us honest. Jesse, my co-com, always entertaining and always a blast to com with you. And of course, I'm Lumaga.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. You want to take us home? Anything else to talk about?
So I think this is roughly going to do it for the league schedule for tonight. We might have a race still going on over on. We are on League Main, so yeah, this might have done it for the night. I thought we might have had one on League 2, but it looks like we are done for the night in terms of some the restreams. But we do have, of course, a full schedule tomorrow and the rest of the weekend, closing out week 4 for the Spoiler Key Sanity. But until then, make sure to follow the channels, follow our runners, and hopefully we'll see you here next time.